You're listening to the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast.
DRC, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of the Death Rattle Crew, a Hearthstone podcast. This is just going to be a quick intro. Don't forget that you can find us at www.deathrattlecrew.com. Send us an email at mail@deathrattlecrew.com. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions, somebody added the show, please let us know. And you can find us social media-wise and live streaming on either Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube at Death Rattle Crew. Just search at those three places. And with that, on with the show. Welcome to Meta Anatomy, your one weekly stop for everything meta in Hearthstone. I'm joined today again by Matt Mushu Hill.
How we doing?
And Tom Jessup Jessup.
Hello.
Gentlemen, how, well, I'll start this week. How about that? I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to start this week.
Go ahead. Indulge yourself.
This week,
girl.
You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about Oil Rogue. I have not played Oil Rogue. I don't know why. You know, I'm looking at my stats here, and my I've been keep playing the Ramp Druid, and I'm still looking. Oh goodness. No, I think I have 3. No, 1 game. I'm sorry, 1 game
Against it?
over the past 2 weeks against a Rogue.
Oh.
Period.
Oh, yeah, I haven't played against Rogue much. I have been playing it, though, and it's really fun.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
What's your experience? Because I remember last week, week before, you were saying you didn't have all the cards. What are you substituting?
I have everything now, except for Blood Mage.
Okay.
It's just, yeah. Well, some people are running Van Cleef, not running Van Cleef. I'm running pretty stock list, except I notice I've been going up against a lot of Hunters, which is probably your worst matchup. Been going up against a lot of Hunters, against a lot of Mech Mage, obviously, and like a lot of like general like aggro-y kind of burn decks. And so I put in Anti-Killbot and Shade of Naxxramas. Those are the 2 I know for sure. I put in a third and I can't remember what it was. And I have something to replace Blood Mage, and I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but I can figure it out. But it's really fun. It's not easy. You learn how to play it, and then it gets much more intuitive. But I think it's really good because it actually stands a pretty good chance against Mech Mage, which is like huge right now, especially in Europe. I read somewhere, I think it was on Reddit, that like 30% of the Europeans are playing Mech Mage right now, which I think is nuts, but it's probably very accurate. I linked to you the picture earlier of how on my Hearthstone tracker I played like 7 Mech Mages in a row.
Yeah.
One of them was win. All the rest of them was lost.
Yeah.
And I switched 3 decks throughout the course of that. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's. I wish I'd seen more Rogues, because the 1 game that I did play, I mean, it was a washout. I absolutely destroyed it. But I'm with you. A lot of Mech Mages, a lot of Hunters, which has been over the last 2 weeks. I'm at a 33% win rate. They are just stomping me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too.
And I don't know. I'll bring this up real quick. I found this pretty interesting, and I played a bit today, and so my percentage has gone up. But my overall win rate, 39 games. I'm sorry, no, that's wins. I don't see the total. Here we go. I could do math. That might help. 63 games. Yeah, 63 games so far. I'm at a 62.9% win rate. So I mean, not bad. Here's what confuses me, because I'm playing Ramp Druid.
Better than me.
Ramp Druid loves having the coin.
Oh God, yeah.
My win rate without the coin is 74%. My win rate with the coin now is 51%. But this morning it was 43%. It does not make any sense to me. I do not understand that at all.
I'd just say that's just like a sample size thing.
I guess.
Like, I think it should
I've noticed that
smooth out.
I figured it'd be the opposite, you know?
Yeah, you think it would be, but what do you coin out in Druid though? That's the thing. Like coin out, well, obviously, what you coin wild growth.
If I get it turn 1, yes.
Turn 2, you coin Shade. Is that a
if
thing?
If I have it, yeah. I mean, yeah.
This-
It's either a Shade or a 5-drop if I've got to innervate in a coin on turn 2.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ramp druids are running. I don't know if it's ramp druid, probably mid range druid more so, but they're running Sen'jin Shield Master a lot.
Yeah, I used to run. I haven't seen any recently, but I used to run it.
I see it a lot now. Like I don't know why, but it's as an oil rogue, it fucks me up.
I think it's probably just like a response to, I guess, more aggro meta because you get it a turn sooner, and it's like the same sort of thing. It's got your 5, your 6, 6 HP. Because Sludge Belcher is a 5-drop for a 3/5, and it's the same thing. It's a 4-drop for a 3/5 without like the res. I think it's just more of a response to that, something to fill in the gap. Because if you give them in that extra turn, what else are you doing on turn 4 as a druid? It's really just if swipe is applicable, then swipe. If keeper is applicable, but else I guess this sort of fills in that board timing where there's nothing else to do. Like you're building, I guess, a relatively robust minion, whereas what else would you be doing as a druid on turn 4? I suppose something like wild growth hero ability or something like that. But yeah, I think Sen'jin is just helps with the curve is what I think it might be. I had a go on.
Okay, on the Tempo Storm, the new tier list by who did we say by Hyped. He put in the notes. He said against hunters +1 zombie chow, and then you can also put Sen'jin Shield Masters in place of the Shredders. So didn't say that. He said that about mid-range druid specifically. So.
Okay.
It's just a change of focus because like the idea of having the Shredder in there, so you have a minion that can, I guess, trade well, whereas having a Sen'jin Shield Master / Zombie Chow, well, Zombie Chow obviously is looking to trade, but Sen'jin Shield Master is really just sort of, I guess, trying to slow the pace, forcing them into bad trades, particularly against a hunter.
Yeah.
Like without a burning, say, a Hunter's Mark or even a kill command. Yeah.
Skill command.
Love that.
They need to invest a bit of resources into it. And so, yeah, it's really just trying to slow them down because 4 seems like because if you coin into Sen'jin Shield Master, I mean, you're probably going to have a good time.
Yeah.
I've been playing nothing but Mech Shaman. I'm convinced that like I can hit Legend with Mech Shaman.
It's good.
Despite the
it's good and fun.
It's the hyped lower ranking. I don't know. That's definitely that might be the case at the high end of Legend. In I guess that Mech Shaman has dropped to sort of tier 3 because everyone's sort of like gotten sick of it. It's definitely quite. I've noticed like a quite bad matchup against Mech Mage, which obviously isn't a good thing in this meta. So I ended up adding in a Lightning Storm and a Antique Heal Bot for some health, and I took out a Black Knight because Sludge Belcher didn't seem to be as big of a thing. But yeah, I've seen a lot of Mage and a lot of Hunter this week. I
did the same thing with my Mech Shaman deck. You're not supposed to run a lot of overload stuff, apparently, but I've had to run Lightning Storm. I can't. If I don't do it, I get overrun by like.
I do what I want.
Yeah.
How many of those are you running? The Lightning Storm?
Just one.
Just one. Okay.
I'm running 2.
I don't know. You're running 2.
I hate having to run 2. I ran 1 at first, but like after that bout where it was literally just 7 Mech Mage in a row, I was like, fuck it, I'm going all out with control.
Nah, I think if you have to, and that's sort of like where it gets into like the mid-range Mech Shaman. I think using 2 is sort of, it's hard to recover from that if you've used 2 in like consecutive turns. I don't think you're gonna have a good time because it's still. I guess the point of the Mech Shaman is you really want to reestablish that quick board control with like your weapons is what you need. Yeah. Are you running a Doom Hammer?
Yeah, I have 1.
Double Power Maze?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's really sometimes like having the one lightning storm in there is really just supposed to be in case you get like just cheesed at the start and they get 4 minions out and then you get a lightning storm. I don't think 2 is good
No,
because if you're getting
two's not good. I don't suggest it.
Yeah, I think if you get put in a position where you need to play 2, you might as well just concede and move on, sort of thing. Like I've been, I've definitely become like less of a fighter, I would say, in the past couple of weeks, where it's sort of like I'm confident in identifying moments in the game that sort of just swing it. It's just like it's over. I can't like unless there's a miracle. I am done. Like that was just too much of a tempo swing.
Right.
The point the one of the games where this happened was sort of I played Doomhammer on curve and he so I swung twice I think I hit a minion and hit his face. So I had 6 charges and then he going into his turn 5 Harrison Jones and it's just like wow, he's just got so I have nothing on the field and he's just Harrison Jones me and I'm going into an overloaded turn when he's got +6 hand advantages and it's against a priest and I was just like
that's basically
yeah, I don't think I played it out but I really just wanted to concede because I was just like no, there's no way I don't think you I don't think you can, I did lose, yeah. I don't think you can recover against a control deck when you give them +6. well, it's actually it's more than +6 because it's I guess closer to like +7 +8 because they get the 6 cards in hands, the Harrison, and I'm losing. I'd say it's probably plus around +8 because they gain Harrison, I lose Doomhammer, and I'm overloaded for 2. Yeah, it's just like well fuck.
Yeah,
it's just that's all there is to it. It's well, fuck. I'm gonna concede and move on and play against a mech mage or something.
Right.
And the same thing. It's the same thing against a paladin. If what happens is if they get muster for battle on curve with like if I don't have a established board already, if they coin into muster for battle and I don't have like a lightning storm or any ability to trade, it's basically game over because there's no way I can out trade that board basically.
Right.
And that's where I guess the lightning storm comes is to give you extra life against that sort of being cheesed.
Well, and I remember, I say back in the day, a couple months ago, I guess before GVG, if you played Shaman, you ran to deal with the Face Hunter, Zulok, all that. But yeah, now it's. Yeah. I guess if you're playing an aggro deck that overloads, and you're not playing minions that buff off of overload, running one's kind of difficult. I feel like you have to, but
you have Lava Burst and you have Crackle in there already and Doomhammer, and it's not too much to deal with, I don't think, but it's still overload, and you really don't want to do that, especially when you're having to play on curve and stuff. That's why Mech Warper I feel is like super important in the deck, so to help you pump out these things. I almost feel like if Mech Warper wasn't a thing, this deck probably wouldn't exist. And Rolling Zap-O-Matic, super great card.
Well, it's what the Mech Warper is what makes the deck unfair. Exactly. There's been a series of times where I've had the coin and the move will be pass. It's basically coin. Yeah, on my turn 2, coin to 3 mana, play Mech Warper, play another Mech Warper, and then play a Neutron. So I get 3 minutes, and it's just like you lose. It's the sort of like the reverse, reverse muster for battle. It's just like, what are you gonna, like? If I'm staring down an empty board, it's like, well, what are you going to do going turn 3 or turn 4? Sorry, no, turn 3. Yeah, so there's just sort of like that massive tempo swing, and that's what this deck is, I guess, really all about, and sort of it's like
super bursty.
Yeah, exactly. The ability to just Zeus damage from your hand with, I guess, Crackle Lava Burst is just.
I like that term. I have not heard that. Zeus damage.
Well, it was like the Zeus Shaman deck was a Strife Crow like sort of tournament deck where that was the idea. You ran. This was before GVG where you had the lightning bolts and Lava Burst in hand. The idea was buff with Yeah, with like Malagos and just smash them in the face. Because
my
you
brother-in-law dusted a golden Malagos the other day. I was kind of sad, but I was like, probably not going to use it.
Probably never ever going to use it. Like Malagos was, semi-viable, but it's sort of like a passing fad, I guess. Like some decks, I don't know. It's a cool card, cool concept, but for the practical Hearthstone player who does not have infinite money to spend on packs, dusting Golden Malagos, I think is a good move in the long run.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, I think the only golden legend I ever pulled was I had a golden Velen, and I was just like dusted it instantly. It wasn't didn't factor into my mind. Like I wasn't in the mood. I wasn't in the mindset of I want to do that crazy 1280 damage pyroblast thing. You get 7 and it just doubles it each time. So
right.
You end up, it's the power of 7 and it's just like smashed in the face. But dusting golden legendaries is definitely a good idea.
It's a free legendary of your choice, which is nice.
Right.
Which they need to fix the dust rates. I'm not going to start that rant quite yet. I'm not going to.
Oh no! Here's the rant.
No! I'm not extending my rant.
Say what?
Rants.
I'm just making.
Say what? We'll come back to the rant.
Okay.
Is just so that people know what they're getting into. Is that the rant for the week? The dust rates?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh damn!
Yeah, that officially. Yeah,
it's okay though, because I'm good at
confirmed.
I think that. This one I can blame Blizzard for. This is fine. I'm all about that. That's easy.
I do have a question about the shaman decks. That are you playing one too, Tom? I know obviously Matt's playing one, but are you playing
a shaman?
Yeah.
Not much anymore. I was at the beginning of the season.
Okay.
And it's really really fun.
Well,
but not so much anymore. I have Oil Rogue, and it's
okay.
That's kind of my thing right now. I really like that.
Well, Moshe, what are your 3 drops in your deck? I'm going somewhere with this, but what do you have in yours? What do you feel is necessary?
I think, well, at the moment, the one that springs to mind is Lightning Storm is, I guess, a 3-cost card.
Okay, sure.
Just open up the list. I don't think there's too many, because I think the idea is just to try and manipulate it with Mech Warper.
Okay.
You have Lava Burst?
Yeah, Lava Burst is a 3-drop. Okay, here we go. Okay. So 2 Power Maces, Lava Burst, Lightning Storm, and 2 Spider Tanks, and a Tinkertown Technician.
Okay,
that's
so it's
literally the same exact thing I got.
Well, it's literally like copy pasted from Lord Firebat's list.
Okay.
Mine's similar, yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Matt.
He actually, I posted on my Twitter some like really unfair games where I won. Like, I don't know if I posted this one, but there was a game where I won on turn 3 against a priest, where I had I coined into Whirling Zap-O-Matic.
Okay.
Coined into Whirling Zap-O-Matic, and then on turn 2 I played the Flame Tongue Totem, so I hit him for 10, and then on turn 3 I double rock bited.
Oh wow!
22 damage. It was just like
no answers. Wow.
That's fucking hot.
Oh yeah, because on turn 3 he dropped like a Shadow Boxer and an Oshai Cleric, and I was just like top deck the second rock bite, and it's just like, well, get shit on. It's like what you gonna do? And that's I guess it's sort of like the Undertaker opening. If you don't have an answer, you're cooked.
Yeah. Well,
with
my question is we were just talking about having overload. Would Unbound Elemental be a replacement for like maybe the Spider Tank, or is having that mech synergy more important than potential buffs?
Yeah, it's much more important.
Okay.
Because what happens is the tempo you gain by getting a 2-drop Spider Tank is massive.
Okay.
The only one you have in the deck, like creature-wise, is Cogmaster, and you need those buffs from the mechs, because besides Spider Tank, the only mechs you have are Noyotron, Mech Warper, Whirling Zap-O-Matic, and some people run Doomhammer, Mechanical Yeti, and then the Pilot Shreds.
I've got one of each. I've got a Mech Yeti and a Pilot Shredder. I took out the second Pilot Shredder for that was to balance the curve with the antique healbot.
Okay.
They have about 10 mechs.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically anytime you have a Cogmaster on turn 1, you're going to have a fun time.
Yeah.
And you don't
It's just
wanna-
like,
Yeah, you don't want to run a lot of overload cards, like we said, because it's really aggro-y based. So, I'd like playing this deck with all of the Whirlwind or Wind Fury. I really wish there was a solid Wind Fury deck out because it just run all of the buff cards that there are. Because it reminds me so much of for people who play Magic, it reminds me of Infect, where the whole point of like so in Magic people have 20 life, and then when you do damage to somebody, whoever gets to 0 first loses. But Infect is a mechanic that came out in like New Fire Exia or something like that, and it was instead of doing damage to people, you deal damage in the form of poison counters, and so anybody who gets to 10 poison counters loses instantaneously. So people would run like, here's my turn 1, here's my 1/1 with Infect, and then next turn I play Giant Growth and Giant Growth to give it +3/+3 twice. So now it's a 7/7. You're at 7 counters. Next turn, Giant Growth again, and you lose. And so like Rockbiter is like Giant Growth in this game. It gets creature gets +3 attack, but if you give it Wind Fury, it gets basically +6 attack. So or plus, well, okay, yeah, +6 attack basically because Wind Fury. I would love to see that happen because I would play that deck every day. I'd probably lose a lot because it's a really fragile deck in Magic, let alone. But that would be so fun to play. Just one of my dreams.
one of those decks when you one day have a job and can pour all your disposable income into the game. live like a king.
Like a king.
Deck king.
So yeah, so we talked about the mech. We basically talked about Oil Rogue. Not much different there. Any changes in mech mage that you guys have been noticing? Personally, me no, but
there was like a really like non-mech mage list that was going around for a while. Like ran a lot of just like crazy cards, which like the deck was really really good. For the most part, there's not like a huge change. The only thing that I noticed that a lot of people have been using that I don't agree with at all is Blingtron. Like, why? I don't like it at all. Like, I understand. Let me say, I know why, because it's RNG and it's good and it can even kill your opponent's weapons and stuff. And it only gives you tempo.
But do you know why it works? Do you know why it works in the mage? So the reason it's played in the mage deck is because in addition to Blingtron, you run Water Elemental and 2 copies of Stone Sugar. So the idea is that they never get a chance to hit with their weapon.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the whole plan. Is
I ran Water Elemental and Snow Sharker. I just didn't really know.
Yeah, I played a couple against a couple of mech mages this week, and a few of them had Flame Strike in, which is like a really good, I guess, anti-sweep thing.
I've seen that too. Yeah.
It's really
I played that back
brutal.
when I didn't even have a good list. Like I was just like, ooh, mech mage sounds cool, and then threw Flame Strike in there because I didn't really have anything else to tempo with. But yeah, I don't see it like a huge change. I saw the Blingtron thing like a little while back, but I don't see people running a lot of like crazy stuff much anymore. That one time I went up against like the streak of mech mages, there was like I would say like a little bit of variance. Like some people were running like the stock like straight from the online list, and some people were running like straight tribal, like all mechs and all things that benefit from X and burn. But for the most part, I don't think there's much change, honestly.
We'll talk about Face Hunter later, but the mid-range Hunter.
Oh yeah,
I definitely want to talk about that because I've been noticing lately, and it's been dominating me as a druid. Tom, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts? What have you been seeing? Have you played it at all, or is it more just playing against it?
It's an 85-15 win rate against Control Warrior.
You only get one rant, sir.
No, that's not my rant. It's I haven't played it yet. I actually just looked at the tier list that Hyped made, today that he made last night, and I really like it so far. Haven't really like went super in depth with this thing yet, but mid-range hunter he's saying is the best, and I haven't played up against it enough. I've played up against a lot of face hunter, but I haven't played up against it enough to solidify that it is like the best deck. It very well may be, but I have had a really, really hard time beating it. It's happened before. It goes 50-50 with Oil Rogue. I think the only reason, or well, not the only reason, but the main reason it's really, really good right now is because it just like it's super, super good against Mech Mage. Like unless Mech Mage gets a really, really good mirror entity off, I don't think it has that great of a chance. Same thing with Shaman, like the Mech Shaman decks. Like if the Mech Shaman deck isn't ahead or in early game, it's probably going to get dominated. And it shits on Control Wearer. It seems to shit on Druid a lot. I've been watching streamers play this deck a tiny bit. I have not seen the Priest matchup. I haven't seen the Pally matchup. But I would assume they're saying it's good on Tempo Storm. I would assume it's probably okay. I've seen a lot of Priests recently, and from playing Oil Rogue, I'm supposed to beat Priests, but Priests have been dominating a lot. But I feel like I'm assuming that like mid-range Hunter and Oil Rogue are going to be the main things to hit Priests too. So I think mid-range Hunter just has some of the best matchups right now. So I think that's why it's so good, and it's relatively cheap. It's not like super, super expensive.
Yeah, because the thing you're really paying for in at least, I guess, the framework build is obviously the one and only Dr. Boom. Everything else, like
except for Rag, which I don't have, unfortunately.
And then it's like even then, like I don't think it's 100% necessary to have either of those. You can sort of, I guess, start other things in. It looks like it relies mostly on like the Knife Juggler clear because it doesn't run, I guess, explosive traps, which I don't know. I'd always feel like playing explosive trap is pretty good in Hunter, particularly in this meta. But I guess they're looking for the Unleashed Juggler clear sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of synergy in this list this time around because they run the Unleash the Hounds and Knife Juggler, and they also run one of Cult Master now, which you play Cult Master, play Unleash the Hounds, and here's my hand again. Like if you get 3 hounds out of that, that's good. Like that's so good. You spend 7 mana. It's basically kind of like a mini sprint with a little tempo. Like it's really, really good.
Which I mean, we saw that after the Buzzard Unleashed nerf. The hunters were just going, okay, I'll just play Cult Master instead.
No one ever played Buzzard again.
Yeah, no.
Buzzard.
Oh, poor Buzzard. Rip.
Rip in peace.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little. I haven't seen it yet. I believe it, but I haven't seen that combo in a while. But I guess Hunter
that's
took
the main thing
over.
that's been catching my eye.
Yeah,
that's how I knew it was coming back. I was like, Face Hunter doesn't usually run this. I think mid-range Hunter's a thing again. Sure enough.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they ban things and they just no one plays them ever again. Right. I think that's where something like Unleash the Hounds was tuned, I guess, to the sweet spot. Is it seemed to have found a pretty good home at 3 mana.
Do you think Starving Buzzard would be a better card if it was 4 mana instead of 5?
Yeah, definitely. It's like
I say that it's playable. I mean, it would be a better card, obviously, but playable at 4.
Is it Starving Buzzard says whenever you summon a minion, right?
Yeah, summon a beast.
Okay,
yeah,
just making sure. Because if it was play a minion, then that wouldn't work. I knew that it worked. I just didn't know. I was just trying to make sure.
I guess, but the problem with like Player Beast in Hunter is it's just dumb because you've got 2 of the core cards of Animal Companion and Unleash the Hounds they're summoned, they're not playing. So it's just sort of like, what's the point? I guess it's just like might as well be in a different archetype. And I guess.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's only Dr. Boom's days are numbered. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We were talking about that last week.
I think I said last week that it wouldn't get nerfed, but I was like thinking about it after the show. I was like, Jesus Christ, I sound like an idiot because I remember coming up with this whole like string of reasoning behind all the cards I guess particularly legendary cards that have been nerfed in the past were nerfed because they were good in every deck. Therefore, Boom won't get like nerfed. But it's like that's actually no. Therefore, Boom will get nerfed. It's like he'll get he's gonna get wrecked.
Well, I don't think he's gonna get nerfed. I'm not sure because
he's too many people are playing it.
Well, the thing is that I don't see him played a lot. Like that's just my personal like experience. I don't see him played a lot unless I'm playing up against like Mech Mage or like Control Warrior or Face Hunter or not Face Hunter, Mid Range Hunter. But that's like really all I play up against. I've seen him in Druid. I've seen him in Pally, but like they usually never come out. Either that or I don't get to that point in the game. It probably is. I should play more before I say I don't think he's going to get nerfed, but I'm not. More so, my stance is that I'm not sure. You're right in the sense that he's played in like every deck except for Face Hunter and some Zulocks. Even like the minority of Zulocks run Dr. Boom. I've seen that.
Which is crazy.
I would argue that he has a place in Face Hunter.
Oh yeah.
It's like if you drop him on like turn 7, it's just sort of like, well, what do? Like I've got bombs. It's obviously I think what people put like Leroy or something in some sort of big charge to finish off the curve.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people shit talk Leroy in like Face Hunter. I don't know why. It's still really good. It's a 6 power charge.
Yeah, it's a fine. I think it's fine. When people were running, when you saw a lot of knife jugglers. I mean, you still see them, but when they were more prevalent, they were played less, obviously, because you're giving 2 daggers to your opponent. But
right,
and I have seen it played where person plays a Leroy against an opponent with a knife juggler, and the knife juggler kills the Leroy.
It's brilliant. It's just sort of like, well,
yeah.
Thankfully, we don't have a lot of Zoo now, so we don't have to worry about a lot of knife jugglers. And the main aggros don't run knife juggler. Like Hunter and Pally is like the main things that run knife juggler right now. So I think it's still worth the run. So Leroy, I mean.
It's weird to see Zoo or Warlock in general being phased out. It's been so long. I was thinking about this. Like I'd say most classes have spent time at the bottom in the shit list where people won't play them, except for Warlock.
Because Handlock.
Well, Handlock and Zoo's always been good. Like Zoo was one of back when you had things like the flame imps only dealing 2 damage, and the what's the other guy? The other imp that I forgot because I haven't played it in ages.
Blood imp?
Yeah, Blood imp when he was a 1/1.
Yeah.
And it gave all your minions plus 1 HP.
It's
was just stuff,
I actually don't remember that. Holy crap.
It was unbalanced as
Wait,
shit.
Was it every turn, like on upkeep, you would get...
No. It's just a permanent or a plus 1 HP to
Which,
minions.
That's a buff. Because if you have enough, especially Zoo, if you have enough on the board, that's a huge...
It's made it too hard to clear things. But basically, Warlock has been consistent through the entire, I guess, life of Hearthstone, basically because the hero ability drives it. And I don't think it'll ever be bad. I don't think you'll ever be, obviously in a meta with Face Hunter, it's a little bit harder for the locks to do well because they do, like the Zoo perishes towards Explosive Trap and then Handlock loses to, I guess, double kill command, that sort of thing. Because,
Handlock's a fun matchup as Oil Rogue. Because I'm just like, herp, derp, derp, I'm going to do all my things, and you can draw cards, and oh, look, you're dead!
It's essentially a free win when I queue into any kind of Warlock. Like, I think I got Zoo, like a really weird Zoo once or something, but like I've got a huge win record with the Mech Shaman against
I played up against like a lot of weird. Well, not a lot, but I played up against like some specifically just weird zoo decks. Like I know people have been running the Blood Knight thing, and I think Blood Knight's actually pretty decent right now.
I saw that today. Yeah, keep going, but yeah,
it's weird. Like I feel like Zulok. Like the main thing about Zulok, everybody liked it because it was really resilient. It was hard to clear the board because everything was like death rattle. Like you had the spiders. You had Haunted Creeper, and you had the Ruby Egg, and you had Harvest Golem, and so that was the main like shtick. Like you're running this aggro deck, and there's a lot of removal in this game, so you have to run things that are hard to remove. And the decks I'm playing up against like now, it's almost like Hobgoblin, Blood Knight, Zoo.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan personally. Weird.
Inconsistency is king.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like Blood Knight as a card. I think
too.
that's a response to a lot of Annoyatrons, and I'm going to say I've been running this card, and the first time I saw it in my Ramp Druid a version of it, I was like, wow, I haven't seen this card as Sunwalker. I've seen Sunwalkers in Druids, in Paladins. I saw it in a Priest today. You know, the original thought was, 6 mana. That's way too slow for that card, for the stats that you get. Even with because you can get rid of it real quick. One little Spectral Spider and the shield's gone. But I've been seeing a lot of it.
I think it's still good. I was actually kind of curious why it wasn't played in like. Excuse me, it wasn't played in like some ramp decks, but I guess it were just better cards. But
yeah,
I guess
it just get shat on by Black Knight.
Yeah,
like,
everyone ran that.
Everything that makes Sunwalker good is shat on by Black Knight. Yeah.
Well, and then there's so many other Sylvanas. I mean, all the 6 drops that you could you need to fill in. But the Blood Knight. That's a 3-drop, right? Yeah.
No. Blood Knight? Blood Knight.
Do you mean Blood Knight? What did you mean?
Blood Knight? No, I thought I meant Blood Knight.
The guy that kills taunts. What's his name?
Oh,
there's
Black Knight.
Yeah, I was thinking
Different Knight.
Black Knight, Blood Knight. They're the same thing.
Brothers from another mother.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, continue. I'm being retarded.
Yeah, no. Well, I was talking about Blood Knight. You were talking about Black Knight, but
I was talking about both.
Ooh, look at you.
I was I was talking about I'm ahead of the curve over here.
Can't handle it.
Just sit down.
Yeah, I mean, just quick to end on Warlock. Yeah, I mean, I'm at an 87.5% win rate against Warlocks. They've I don't know what it is. They have not been doing great. Maybe it's just because I know how to play them. I mean, I still play Handlock. I just made a Zulok deck today to do some dailies. I like playing Handlock, but I know it's not where it was, several months ago.
I think it's mainly just used to climb ladder now, especially now that everybody knows what it does. Like, so it's easy to play against. But I don't. When I was playing Face Hunter, like it was really like I have to not use my kill commands because I got to do it to the face at the end of the game. But if they got the taunts, it was just kind of over. But I just haven't played against it much, so I feel like Face Hunter is just nice. And with the fact of it falling off because of the shitty matchups that it does have, Face Hunter's got more prevalence now. And I like Handlock as a deck. I think it's really cool. It's got a lot of synergy, but in the beginning of the season, you'll see it a lot because a lot of people are like, Handlock, go! I'm gonna win all the games and like rank up on ladder and swiggity swag. And I don't see it. You're not. I think that's just what it's gonna be from here on out. It's just gonna be a ladder climbing deck at the beginning of the season to just shit on all the noobs. So.
I don't know, like what he's talking about Handlock, as in, I don't think it's that stable. I think it's just.
I don't think it is stable. I just think it's like a kind of a cheese deck right now.
I don't.
That's what that is my claim. That's what
I think there's definitely been a drop in the amount of big game hunters, but
yeah, I've seen that too.
I still don't think that makes it like. Sure, if you can throw up, I guess Mechmate has a little bit of difficulty dealing with the walls.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think it's still sort of. I guess I guess you kind of have a point. Like I would, if you can get the walls up and do alright against Mech Mage.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the same for anyone.
Yeah.
Even hunters, unless like it's a mid range and they run. Oh goodness, Hunter's Mark. If they don't run it, then good luck. I hope you burned it fast enough. Well, I say that. I hope you have heals in the deck too, which I guess most handlocks are now. Because my problem against hunters is I'll stabilize, and it's turn 5. Like, okay, I think I'm good. Everything's gone. They've got 3 cards in their hand, and look at my health, and I'm at like 10, 12, 15 health. And it's like, okay, well, I'm on a timer now. I've got nothing. They're eventually going to beat me in attrition.
Yeah.
Especially if they play freezing traps, because then there's nothing I can do.
I think aside from mid-range hunter, like hitting the tops, the meta's relatively the same. I keep seeing more and more priest, and I feel like Hype just saying it's tier 3, but he only has 3 decks in tier 2. I feel like priest is like bottom tier 2 right now.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's really situational. Has some inconsistency, but it's pretty powerful as a deck.
What have you been seeing in it? I mean, I'm obviously, like I said, I've been playing a lot of druids, so they don't touch me because I have so many 4-deck creatures. What are they running though?
I actually like the main thing that sticks out to me is Death Lord. Like a lot of people are running like Death Lord, not even to fatigue, just because it's like it's its main card against aggro, I guess. I've seen a lot of mid-range druid, and I guess like I don't really think mid-range hunter would matter too much, but I guess because mid-range druid is out there a lot and mech mage is out there a lot, there's not an easy way to clear the board or like single target kill all the things that you need to in a priest deck, except for like you have Mech Warper and Snow Trigger that are really good, which can be hit by Shadow Word Pain, and then the bigger drops in that deck don't really matter so much. So Shadow Word Death isn't super huge. Like you have Antonidas, you have those matter, Antonidas and Doctor Boom. But like if they kill your Antonidas, either the Mech Mage is doing something wrong or the priest got really, really lucky. And if they kill your Doctor Boom, it's kind of like whatever, because you mainly want that for the boom bots to clear your way so you can win. I kind of like Doctor Boom's just kind of like a win more card in that deck. But I just feel like priest it's played a lot, and it's really, really good when piloted well. Which no shit, right? But
that's my favorite bit. Yeah. Continue, sorry.
There are a lot of decks that can in contrast to like, I don't know, Fatigue Druid, Fatigue Mage, like those decks are just not good. Like they're like, if you win, you're lucky. Like you have to bank on luck.
Either you get a good draw or you surprise your opponent. That's how you win. I think
someone like Kalento might argue
is not too difficult
with Fatigue Mage.
Why do you say that? What do you mean?
Well, because I guess something like Fatigue Mage, it's all about limit testing and knowing limits, because you need to obviously make the most efficient decision so you get to the late game, and that comes with experience.
That is different than the druid version of it. That is true.
Yeah. The druid seems to be
the druid doesn't care.
No,
early and mid game,
it just plays cards. it is zoo with spells, basically.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Apparently is a deck coming out as Mech Druid.
Yeah,
that's a thing. Like
I've
tier 2.
I've seen notes on that. I have not seen it. I don't know. I don't know how it made it, but okay, good for them, I guess.
So I guess the problem with this, like the meta snapshot of this, I'd assume this is looking more towards the top end of things.
That's very true.
So you're sitting anywhere between rank 20 and rank 5, even probably between rank 3 and rank 20. You're probably not seeing this sort of thing. It's not like a layman's view of the Hearthstone metas.
I like
obviously,
it, the concept of it, because to my understanding, it's just like from what I have seen, it's like kind of an aggro-y, mid-rangey druid, like nothing like too big, like not a lot of KT, Doctor Boom, Ancient of War, Ancient of Lore stuff. Like they probably run a little bit of that, but it's basically kind of like a mech aggro druid and then combo, like Force of Nature, Savage Roar. So just to clear things out.
that's pretty filthy.
Yeah.
It's I feel like if you want to play druid, just play mid range. But
Don't tell me how to feel.
yeah, I'm not telling you how to feel. That's how I feel, and if you don't, you're wrong. But that's just how life works. I'm just to that. Control and mid range paladin have apparently fallen off.
That was actually the next thing. What?
I'm in your brain.
Oh, ooh.
Thinking your thoughts.
I mean, paladin. I've seen quite a bit of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say it's 50. What am I? 75%. So it's not. That's what I'm at anyway. I don't know. I just feel like I know how to play against them now, though. No, don't overextend. Try to try to get them to burn.
I don't think it's
consecrates.
I don't know. I haven't, like I said, I haven't played enough. I should be playing more. But I don't think it deserves tier 3. I think it's like bottom tier 2. It's pretty good. I think it's like it's a solid list. Like it has reasons to win. It just may not be suited
control of the
meta.
mid range.
I guess it maybe just gets shit on by mid range hunter.
But are you talking about control pally or mid range pally?
Both for the most part.
So like the reason control pally, I guess, seeps into the meta is whenever there's slow decks, control pally can be slower and win.
Yep.
So as the meta speeds up, the control pally becomes less and less relevant. The reason mid-range paladin stays a little bit more relevant is because it has that more spiky curve around the early game, because they have these like aggro things. I lost a game to an aggro pally, and that's sort of like, I guess, an aggro pally with like a more balanced mid range is where you'd sort of do well, because you'd have the control paladin aspects with like that early game pressure. And
I actually played against a similar sounding deck. I played against some really weird aggro paladin deck, and it beat me. Because I didn't know what I was going up against. I thought I was going up against a mid-range, like a control paladin, and so it was just like, okay, I have a couple turns to set up and do some things, and I'll clear some of his minions, like a knife juggler we'll get rid of, and then, oh, here's another knife juggler, and oh, here's muster for battle, oh,
Yeah.
Wait, he's running Scarlet Crusader, or whatever, that one guy, the Scarlet Purifier, the guy that deals damage to Death Rattle, and I was like,
oh, you saw one of
that's
those?
not normal.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen that played.
once,
and then Blood Knight dropped, and I was like, well, shit, Sap,
Wow.
thank you, Anoyotron, Blood Knight. Shit.
I think, it's just sort of, it's not consistent enough. I think that's
no.
really,
No,
I can't expect playing that same deck 5 times in a row and losing like more than 3 times or more.
A buddy of mine plays, like, he calls it Cancer Pally because it's like Face Hunter but for Paladin, but he doesn't have a lot of cards, so he just plays like a budget aggro Paladin deck. But I looked at it, and it looked very similar to the deck that I had been playing against, and I only saw it like 2-3 times, but it was like the same exact list, different people, same exact list. So I don't know where they're getting it from, or if it's just really intuitive and I'm missing it. But it's interesting. Not a giant fan. Maybe the drop bear's got him.
Can you hear me yet?
Oh,
Tell me
yep,
can you hear me?
we're good.
There we go.
Yeah. And there was an aggro pally at the door. Just sort of came in and hit me.
It's like, what were you saying about me, bro?
Humility. Blessing of might. It was ugly, but he wasn't consistent enough.
Yeah.
So I guess the boon that it got with aggro pally got with GVG was the addition of Jeeves, which is basically like another divine favor. So you get that little bit more consistency, but I still don't think it's
4 cards definitely not enough draw power. I guess because with meta where people are dumping their hands because aggro, it's makes Divine Favor a little bit worse. Because you're not going to get that huge differential. Obviously, you're might be able to pick up 3 cards if you dump your hand and then play it.
I feel like Jeeves would be more of a sideboard card if we had sideboards in this game. Like, if you're playing up against mid-rangey kind of decks, and you're playing an aggro deck, Jeeves is like a good card. But if you're playing up against a lot of aggro decks right now, like Mecha Mage and mid-range Hunter, and kind of even Oil Rogue, because Oil Rogue can empty their hand pretty easy, and Shaman, it's not a good card to put on the board because it just helps them way too much.
Yeah, they don't necessarily want to kill it.
Yeah. It actually won me a game. I was playing Face Hunter against another Shaman or mid-range Hunter or something. I can't remember. Some kind of aggro-y deck, or maybe it was Zoo. I don't know. But he dropped that. Actually, ironically enough, he got it out of a shredder, and then like 2 turns later, he played his own. And I was like, either way, I was gonna win this game because I'm dumping my hand at this point. So it was fun.
Yeah, so I guess that's Paladin. Any I obviously been over Warlock. Rogue's about the same. I'm pretty sure it's everything. Warrior hasn't changed at all.
No, it's still as hated by Tom as it ever was and ever will be. I don't think those feelings will never
die in a
change.
hole, but whatever.
Yeah.
Mage, any other than Mech Mage, any changes there you guys have been seeing? I mean, I haven't. It's been
too many. There's too many.
Yeah, a lot of Mech Mages. Other than,
saw a lot of people trying to make Echo Mage a thing a little while back, and some people took it to Legend actually. But I think that was just because like it was fringe and nobody knew what the fuck was going on. I was like, whoa, Echo of Medivh. How do I play against this? So.
You can take anything to Legend, like anything on that tier list. You can take to Legend. That's it.
Just gotta put it in
as long as you have the time and knowledge, and vigilance, and diligence.
Yeah. I like the dupe mage. I mean, when that was when GVG came out, I made one. It's a lot of fun to play, but it's kind of like playing traps in a hunter or trying to play control hunter. When you play your duplicates or any of your spells, you're hoping that they play the card you want them to play. I guess you can try to work into it by playing like Sludge Belchers or your Water Elementals, but then you can only have that on the board. So you're kind of, I don't know. It's almost like you're limiting yourself because if you play one of those minions that you do want, and then you play an Annoy, well, you might want an Annoyotron. I don't know, something you don't want. Maybe another. What's the 2-drop with the gives you secret? A Mad Scientist. You might not necessarily because I've played. I think I had 1 or 2 in it. You may not want to pull another secret out, that, and you may not want another one back. That might not be the best card to duplicate. Yeah. Other than that, it's just Mech Mage for days.
Mech Mage and
then
I don't
Mech Mage.
played up against a lot of Oil Rogue. Like I've seen it. Like I know it exists, but I think it's like Mech Mage and Hunter and a little bit of Control Warrior here and there. Shaman, I've actually seen more.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Shaman.
But Mech Mage and Hunter are like my big things. And then Druid. So.
Well, anything else to say about this?
One card I have been seeing played a lot, which I like out of nowhere, like in just random decks, is Bomb Lobber.
Really?
Yeah, like in good decks too, like Control Warrior, Control Pally.
I tried putting one in a Control Warrior way back, and I couldn't get to stick. I don't know.
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's like really weird. I don't know. Like,
this was the card that was supposed to counter Milko Rogue before they nerfed Gadgetzan. This was the answer, but then we got spare parts, and that ruined everything. So now it went from a card that everyone would play until Miracle Rogue died in a fire to it doesn't matter because Miracle Rogue's not really a thing anymore.
Oil Rogue has surpassed it.
Yeah.
More consistent. But other than that, I think that's pretty much the meta.
Matt, any other meta thoughts?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, we'll quit talking about the meta. We'll go on the tournament scene. Um, I guess there's been quite a well. I don't know if we want to bring up controversy. It has something a little bit, I guess, kind of a note. We'll see. We'll see how if it comes up, if it's organic or not. But um, the tournaments, specifically, Matt, and you can enter this as you want, but invites. Is that a thing that we are happy about with the World Championships?
Well, so what this really sparks from is there was I guess something that got voted to the front page of Reddit or the Hearthstone subreddit earlier this week was from a guy named Specialist who last year played a shit ton, got up there in Legend and was involved in a bunch of win trading. And this article is based on like how he was forced into win trading, how he won Blizzard, blah blah blah. But the thing that I guess I took away from the article was the role of the invite tournaments with invites give points to the Hearthstone World Championships. And the way it's set up at the moment is they can only be invited up to the round of 16. So they still have to go, 8, 4, 2 to get points.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the fact that there is even this is sort of a bit, I don't know, it doesn't seem fair. I think 16's a bit too close because that means, I think that means like, obviously and you're allowed to invite up to half of that 16. So they'd have 8 invited players and 8 people who qualified. So that means that half the time someone who's been invited, who's jumped the queue from the whatever size the field is to the top 16. And I guess that sort of just supports the rich get richer mentality. And this is what I was taking away from the article is sort of like it devalues the Hearthstone World Championship because you have the chance, if you're, I guess, a well-known player, to get these benefits over, I guess, the layman, the person the grinder, the person who's playing all these online tournaments and stuff. It's exclusive to 10K and 25K plus tournaments. So obviously there's not going to be a ton of these. So it's not going to be, in the grand scheme of things, that important. But I just think on principle, it's something that Blizzard should, it comes down to Blizzard wanting to make money versus at the same time wanting to be fair. I think top 16, go on.
Well, yeah, I mean, and this is my thought when I was reading this, was making money. So I guess the idea that they think people flock to the players that they root for, that they know best, which maybe that's true for some people. I personally don't really care. If I'm watching a stream or I'm rooting for someone in a tournament, it's just because I like them. You watch a lot of streamers. I mean, yeah, a lot of them are good. But there are some streamers I won't watch because I think he or she's an idiot. I don't care if they're number one in the world. If you're an idiot, I'm not going to watch your stream. I'm not going to name any names. But I think more about Firebat, for example. Nobody knew Firebat, and then he comes out from nowhere and wins it all. I want to see that. I want to see unknown players come in and just upset. That's what I think is more exciting. I guess the thought, and this is a question for both of you, do you think that there's more money in known players coming? Are people going to watch or not watch because, I don't know anyone who's playing in the tournament?
I think it'll lose.
That's the question. Yeah, I think you probably lose. I think that's the problem is I think they think they'll lose viewers, whether or not it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I definitely think that's the issue. I think they're concerned that if they don't have invited players, particularly because a lot of these things are third party things like ESL and King Gwyn doing these big tournaments, if they don't have these invited players, people aren't going to want to watch the stream, which is true because I guess it sort of splits the viewership, but down, I guess, people who are just generally interested in this tournament and people who are interested in Hearthstone and wanting to see the top players play. But I don't think those two things necessarily need to be mutual when contributing to the Hearthstone World Championships. I think that needs to be separate. You can still have these big tournaments and make big money off it with invites. I just don't think that necessarily needs to influence the Hearthstone World Championship. Because I think the players who are being invited to the tournament, it's sort of like, it's very, as I said before, rich get richer because they're probably being paid to be there. They're receiving sponsorships and they're receiving better seeding in a tournament where they can win a lot of money and then be put into a better position for the World Championship where they can win even more money, which sort of goes against what I like really enjoy about Hearthstone is the way it's set up. Anyone can win. You could be some kid in like even Australia and just go from not being known to World Championship just because of how accessible Hearthstone is. And I think this sort of thing prevents that and sort of just limits that. I guess that's what sort of annoys me about it.
I'm really getting behind that Just Soup guy. Like, he really sucks balls, but that'd be great if he hit Legend. Like, that would be really cool.
He's gonna hit top Legend. He's gonna hit Legend top 100 twice and get his 2 points to get into the last call tournament.
Oh man, I see.
That's how he's gonna.
Yeah. And then he's gonna get to the first tournament he has to play, and then just like fucking flop because he sucks so much.
But to the Hearthstone scene's credit, it's done really well over this past year because we've gone from, in the early days of Hearthstone, there was, I guess, this quote unquote boys club of the same sort of like 12, 15 guys being invited to Hearthstone tournaments. Obviously, people like Trump were criticized for not necessarily being the best, but being invited to all these events and stuff. But yeah, it's just sort of, I don't know. I think that top 16 seems a little bit excessive to me. I don't like it. But
so are you saying you want to see a top 8?
No, I'd say top 32. So they can be invited to the round of 32.
Did you say top 16 seems excessive?
As in to be invited to. They can be invited to the round of 16. If you get what I mean.
Confused.
So
well, hold on 1 second. You're saying that the top 32 should get invites?
No, I'm saying that inviting people to the top 16 is excessively like gifting them an opportunity to get points.
Okay. I thought you were saying like it's excessive. There's too many people. Like
no.
Okay.
I'm saying they're being put too far into the tournament. Right.
Okay, that makes sense. My brain needed to understand things.
Yeah, no,
hamsters moving at like a mile a minute, not getting anywhere. So,
but that's really all it is. It's like it's good and it's bad. I guess it's good because it means Blizzard are obviously preparing to support 10 and 25K tournaments, which is awesome. It just sort of, I think we're pushing in the right direction from going from no invites to having at least 50% open qualifiers is what you want. And so I think it's only going to get better. It's just sort of, I think as a community, we need to keep on it to make sure we keep pushing towards, more open qualifiers.
Yeah. Is part of the issue too, well, we're going to invite these people that we know do this 8 hours a day and like this is their life, to make sure that we, if someone gets, number one legend and it's like, hey, you're invited. Oh, sorry, I can't. I got to work. I can't take a couple days off and fly, halfway across the world to do this. Do you think that's part of it on Blizzard's end, kind of insurance for the show, quote?
Yeah, I guess it's just sort of like they're just running. I think much like Riot Games has given, I guess, the common LoL player the dream of getting into the LCS, playing League of Legends for a career. Blizzard are trying to instill that dream into Hearthstone players, and I guess the slightly less casual players, the people who are playing consistently. It's a very, I guess, very sort of seemingly accessible dream.
Okay.
And basically, I'd like to keep that alive because I don't think you need to have sponsored pros being invited to events. I think they can be separate things. I think you can have big events that don't count toward world championship points.
So like you're saying, so I think I can't remember. I haven't watched Dota and been in the Dota scene for a while, but I remember they used to do like amateur leagues. So do you think they should do like amateur leagues? Like if you're, how they had it was that if you're on a team that like if you're on like a top tier 1, tier 2 team that gets invited to these events, you weren't allowed to these events. Anybody who hasn't been to like the international is allowed to come or something like that. Do you think that we should like make a close off for pros or something?
No, I don't think that's necessary because that sort of like goes the other way in that it's sort of like an extreme on the other end in that that a pro should have the opportunity to play in any tournament they wish, but they should have to wade through the crowds like the rest of us sort of thing.
Yeah.
They shouldn't get preference, I guess.
I think the main thing with like the amateur leagues, I feel was like a lot of the things they did, and it's been a long time since I paid attention to Dota, so I could be butchering this amount of knowledge that I do have. But what they would do is they would kind of center it their online and their LAN events, and they were all third party stuff for the most part. And what they would do is they would center or base their events based on pro events. So if there was like a pro event going on where there was going to be a lot of teams, or some of the majority of teams, they would put it around like the same weekend or whatever. So it was like open for most people, but most of the pros wouldn't really care about that event. They would go to their pro event or whatever, and then the amateurs would go to the amateur event or whatever. So. Which is to say, I mean, like I was neither of those. I was so terrible at Dota. I just thought it was really fun.
but did that like influence, I guess, who got invited to the international?
I don't know. No, I don't think the amateurs had anything to do with the international. Actually, I think it was just like for people who need to get better and people like amateur teams who want to prove that they're actually good and can get money playing the game. I think that was just reciprocating the industry and making it better, which I'm all for. So,
well, we kind of brought this up a little bit earlier, and I guess to get someone who doesn't know, kind of in the loop for those at home. You brought up win trading. So what is that, and what's the to the unknown? What does that mean?
Okay, so when you get to the legend rank, it becomes less. It's not about how many stars you have. It becomes what's known as an ELO, which is a rating based on your record versus the rest of the field. So if you beat someone higher on the ladder than you, you'll gain a good amount of points. If you beat someone lower, you'll gain a little bit of points. And if you lose to someone who is a lot worse than you, then you'll lose a lot of points. So the idea is it's a number. And this is used, I guess, in a lot of games. It originates from chess. But the idea with win trading is when you get towards the top end of legend, you can, I guess, carry one another because the idea is if I give you a win and then you give me a win, the netted ELO that we get from doing that, we move up because you gain more than you lose the closer you are together, I guess.
Okay.
And so what happens is towards at certain times and certain ranks, well, certain, I guess, ELO thresholds. So when you're playing against a low amount of people, it becomes easier to queue into one another. And so the idea is to just continuously do this and go up the ladder. But obviously there was a big thing last year where Blizzard cracked down on this. Going back to the specialist article, he was talking about how he felt like he had no choice but to win trade in order to compete for top 16, which obviously I don't condone. I think it's sort of like a Lance Armstrong excuse. Everyone was doing it, so that makes it okay.
Right.
It's just But so win trading is basically getting a friend or a second account and just going concede, and just getting elo out of it. I guess is what it is. And obviously, the latter part of his article was talking about how win trading is still existent. It's just become more sophisticated. Obviously, you just try and hide it from Blizzard, so you don't open concede as soon as you get into the game. You sort of play it out, and then maybe you don't play that Dr. Boom and something like that, and they hit you in the face.
What do you mean not play Dr. Boom? What is
exactly? That's how they know you're win trading, because you're not playing the Dr. Boom. But to Blizzard's credit, eventually they got onto it. They did sort it out, and I guess whatever method they use to detect win trading is only going to get better and better as time goes on.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what win trading is, and it's a problem in Hearthstone. But it's sort of like the nature of the beast sort of thing. It's hard to track. It's only going to get better. Blizzard are going to come down hard at that sort of thing.
Do you feel like a lot of the does this article give you a sense that a lot of people are doing it, or do you think it's just a select group?
I just think he's butthurt.
Okay.
He just sounds like the general gist of the article. It was just sort of very negatively worded that Blizzard didn't respond to him. Blizzard didn't take him seriously. It's just sort of he's blaming it all on Blizzard. He's sort of, I guess, absolving his responsibility of the fact that he did win trade and he got banned for it. And it's
okay. Yeah. I almost feel like it doesn't. If everyone's not doing it, I almost feel like it doesn't matter, because you're gonna. Well, I don't know. You think about it, when you get that high, you are gonna, like you were saying, you're gonna play against a lot of the same people.
Yeah, and what he was saying was he started off by doing it and just to test, he wouldn't get to rank 1, but then he win traded all the way to rank 1 and stuff like that, and then didn't get banned, so he kept doing it. It's just sort of
what's the point of win trading when you're already at rank 1?
Well, no, that's what I mean. He was win trading up to rank 1.
Oh, okay.
And then staying there, I guess. So Blizzard didn't catch on initially, and then they eventually caught on. But I think it's just the nature of the beast. I think to expect a perfect format the first season is naive, and working with Blizzard to get a better format, get win trading under control is all you can hope. Obviously, it's bad, but you just have to. I guess if you really like the game, you just stick with it.
Yeah.
Just I guess say, this is what I think's happening. This is what we can do. Please, Blizzard, please read, sort of thing.
It's unfortunate.
It's definitely unfortunate that this sort of thing happens, but this is the same in any sport. I mean, people do try to stay ahead of the curve, take the anabolic steroids that isn't going to be detected, and win what they can while they can until they find out. It's about staying ahead of the curve, even if that's unethical cheating.
Yeah,
it's just I don't know. We're winning at all costs, I guess.
Yeah,
I think good and bad things come with the rating system we have, and the fact that it's a card game. When playing Magic, it was really evident that anybody could be a pro. As long as you just took time, and more so with Magic, and if you invested money into the game, you could be a pro. And Magic in itself is pay to win. I hate to say it, but yeah, it's pretty pay to win. But you can't just herp derp derp. I got $1,000. Here's a deck. I'm gonna go in here and I got shit on. No, that's what happens if you just pay money and expect to win. Well, you have to.
It's pay. So obviously, it's quote unquote pay to win to a threshold. If you assume everyone is paying $1,000 towards their deck, that's when the skill comes. There's a curve of which the money influences the quality of your deck.
There's a point at which like in Magic at least it was you could pay to win. There, like at the beginning of Standard Season, for example, I was getting shit on by Abzan, which is one of the best decks, I guess. And it was just like, here's a bunch of really good cards. They don't have a lot of synergy, but they cost a lot. I have a good deck. And thankfully, that isn't so much in Hearthstone. But the main thing that I like about it is that in both games, it's very... I kind of went off there, but it comes together in the fact that you can very easily... I don't want to say very easily, but it's very accessible. The pro scene is very accessible.
Yeah.
Because even though like money is a big factor, the orientation of it being a card game, you can grind through stuff and just do events and play a lot and get your name recognized. Especially in Hearthstone, you can hit legend by yourself. Like you don't have to go anywhere. Like in Magic, you have to do the SCG opens, and you have to go do open trials and Grand Prix, and if you're really lucky, you get to go to invitations and pro tours eventually. But like in Magic or in Hearthstone, it's really easy because you can hit legend and then stuff like that. So
well, we don't have power. The issue of power creep that a game that's been around for 20 years, Magic. Has. I think we're getting it now. I think GVG was the first time I go, yeah, we're seeing some power creep, if not a little bit. Which we'll go ahead, and this will be the last part of this segment. You have not ranted yet, so this kind of segues into it.
I haven't, and there's a
just before we get onto that.
Yeah.
What is, for those who are playing at home, what is power creeping?
Oh yeah. So I guess power creeping. The idea is. As more cards come out, they're more powerful than the ones that came out before them. That's just the tendency of a pay to play card game, I guess. Because you don't want to make cards that are worse. A bunch of cards that are worse. I feel Hearthstone has done a good job of releasing cards that even in GVG that you're like they're awesome. And then there's some that they're just horrible, but it makes it better for Arena, and you consider how random how RNG GVG
hold that
is.
thought and keep going.
Pilot to Shredder, it can drop an awesome card or a really really horrible card, but this is easier to do, I guess, in a digital format like this, whereas I almost feel like a physical format. If you release a version of a deck or a card set and it's just garbage, no one's going to buy it. There's really no point.
So it's in their interest to make it better. I think that's what happened in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is they just you keep climbing the tier list of like release a new set that's better than the other set, so they buy this set.
Right.
Set B becomes better than set A, and then set C is better than set B, and just progresses like that.
And Hearthstone's going to have that, but just real quick, obviously we'll hear about it soon, but the rumor is that this next card set or adventure set that we're going to be getting is going to have more, potentially have more just class specific, vanilla cards, I guess, if you will.
The basic cards?
Yeah. I guess that's going to help out.
Wait, it's going to be class specific or it's going to be neutral?
Well, both, but there'll be basic cards, kind of like when you open up Hearthstone, you get them, kind of.
Okay. Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's the thought. Again, that's a little bit of the rumor mill.
Right.
If that happens, then great. Power creep isn't as big of a deal. It's going to be here. It's a card game. Blizzard needs to sell the cards. Their business after all, and not blaming them.
Right.
But I'm hoping that something like this kind of curbs and gives us more time. So right now, I'm looking at Hearthstone Open. You're looking at like a 4-5 for 4, but power creep comes in. A year from now, 4-5 might just cost you 3. And then you're not gonna play Chill and Yeti anymore because you can play the 3-drop. perfect example. Now they did a good job with that because both players get the card. I guess the advantage now is it's a mech as well. So even if it didn't give the spare parts, just it having a mech tribe, I guess, makes it a better card.
And
I'd like to see more tribals. I think that would be really cool.
Go ahead,
but
Matt.
they want to just on the tribal thing. They want to keep it as simple as possible. So I wouldn't expect too many. Like, so what have we got? We've got Murlocs, mechs, and pirates.
We got dragons too, but there's no.
Yeah, they're not.
It's not a thing.
I don't know if they're actually labeled as dragons yet.
Well, they are. Yeah,
they are?
I'm looking at Azure Drake. I don't think, however, I'm gonna look at the. The legendaries are too. Like Norse Dormu and Ysera. Those are dragons as well.
Don't dust your dragons, kids.
No,
the tribal's coming out.
That's right. So you can put all 10 9-cost dragons in your deck and lose horribly.
Yes.
So speaking of power creep and how Blizzard is doing a great job of not making like lots of shitty cards, here is a booster box of Magic the Gathering. This is filled to the brim with cards I'm never gonna play. They're just all shitty commons. Like, they have so many cards out right now that like playing these cards just kind of doesn't matter. And then I have this motherfucker. I have 4 of these. 4 of them, all filled with cards that I'm probably never gonna play.
Should have dusted them.
Should have dusted.
Yeah,
them.
I need to dust these. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Make that golden rag.
Great fire starter.
Okay, yeah. So, Tom, I'm interested to hear about your. I mean, we're talking about it. It's a good. We've segued twice now. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's just we're gonna force you.
We've Tom Wade into it. So, what is your deal with the dust? I guess is the dust rates. Is that what you're?
Bullshit is what it is. Okay, so if you look at, take for example let me find one. I don't have many. Okay, I have an epic here. Force of Nature. To create one is 400 dust. All right, to create one. If you disenchant it, you get 100 dust. So you're losing 1/4 of that. So you need 4 epics to make a. You need 4 epics to make, or you need to dust 4 epics to make 1 epic, or you need to dust 1 golden epic to make 1 epic. For rares, it's a 1 in 5. So like Starfall, it takes 100 dust to make a Starfall, and it makes 20 dust or you get 20 dust from disenchanting it. When you go down to commons, oh wait, that's soulbound shit. Soul of the Forest, 40 dust to make Soul of the Forest, and then to disenchant it, 5 dust. That's ridiculous. That's an 1/8. Why? Like, that's insane. That makes it really, really hard to make good decks.
That's the idea.
This
is straight out. That's the idea.
If Blizzard cares at all, they need to make sure that they eventually increase these dust rates. Because for people who come in when they've released like a couple sets, people who come in and start playing for the first time, they're going to be like, I have to get all these cards. And they're going to be getting pulling cards from a bunch of other packs, and they're going to be not having a good time because they're not going to have the cards they want, and it's going to be hard to make the cards that they need. And already, right now, I already have that problem. Like, 1,600 to make a freaking legendary. Like, I know it's a legendary, but holy crap. That's a lot. And that makes legendaries, like, not a lot of people have all the legendaries.
So the counterpoint here is, as a player who doesn't buy a lot of packs or anything, or even to people who don't buy any packs at all, why should Blizzard support you? Like, what are you giving to the game if you're not giving them income?
That's about it, man.
Hugs.
I think you just another number. I don't know if they needed like another number.
Like or either make everything 1/4 or make it half.
I mean, I'm with Matt on this, but I do see. I think what Tom's the point that I can agree with Tom is in the future. You know, in a year or two.
I don't think it's super necessary now. It's kind of a pet peeve, but
That is something, and I'm sure Blizzard's looking into this. A year or two down the road, someone who just starts playing, and there's, I mean, what are we getting? 3 sets a year now? I mean, I would consider Naxxramas to be a set, so we'll just call it a set.
No, Nax is a set. I like how they did Nax too. At first, I thought it was kind of stupid. I think it was really expensive gold wise, but I'd like to see more of those. Like, I heard rumors the new set's gonna be more PvE based. I like that. Like, it was actually fun.
It is fun.
Like, for people who don't even for people who don't play like super competitively, like the PvE, like killing, like doing dungeons and stuff, it's pretty fun. Like, and even as somebody who mainly does ladder, I enjoyed it. And even the heroics are challenges. Yeah, you have to make decks to counter that.
That Hunter's challenge with where you only get web spinners, that was so much fun. Awesome. I mean, it's just, and I didn't even care. Yeah, it's just fun, period. I want more of that. Like, the hard bosses with the, high health and armor, those are fun. But just where it is completely RNG whether I win or lose.
Right.
Those are fun too.
It's so fun because you're just screwing around with lots of web spinners.
Right. And it's just kind of, I have no idea what I'm going to get. I have no idea what this game's going to play out with, but damn, this is fun.
I definitely enjoyed the challenges, but the thing I didn't like was it was a little bit, like, I guess, soft on the content in terms of, like, for people who haven't played WoW, it's like, oh, cool, patchwork, it's just some dude. I think a little more intro into, I guess, what Naxxramas is. It's a little bit like that. I think without Naxxramas was assuming that everybody knew what Naxxramas was. Where if you haven't played WoW, then you would have no fucking clue what's going on. Like, Naxxramas is just a thing. It's like, whereas it's like this historic part of World of Warcraft, where it was a raid that was the last tier of the original game, and then was reintroduced during Wrath of the Lich King, partly because of such a small amount of players having seen it in the original.
Mm-hmm.
So I think something like that in the future, I guess maybe with a little more, like, I guess the cartoon Kel'Thuzar was pretty cool. That was pretty funny. But I guess maybe some cutscenes or something would be nice, just to give a little more depth.
Make it more of an event, or I guess maybe just an intro to intro it, I guess, is what you're wondering.
Yeah. Just some more, some more content. Like the trailer for Nax is pretty good. But it just needs, I guess, a little more content. So just tell what this is, flying Necropolis, KT, Soldier of Lich King, that sort of thing.
Right. Kind of a big deal.
But yeah, just coming back to the original issue of future-proofing Hearthstone, it's hard. I don't think Blizzard have necessarily solved it but that being said, they're only 2 sets deep, so it's obviously something that's going to become a problem. The options that I've thought of is obviously eventually just make sets free, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, or make it they can buy, instead of having to open booster packs, they can say buy a base set of GVG, you get like these cards and stuff.
Cool. Kind of like a booster box.
Yeah, or sort of like buying, I guess, a
kind of like a starter deck, I would say.
Yeah, kind of like a starter deck. I think the reason for Blizzard to stay away from starter decks is that it's you're fixing what someone can play.
Right.
Whereas giving them like a set of stuff is probably better.
I think that, like, starter decks and stuff would be more prevalent if we had more cards. Like, that would be okay if we had more cards and we had different formats. Like, keep relating back to Magic, but it's the only other card game that's good, really, nowadays. Shots fired.
Those Pokemon people are gonna be pissed off at you.
Oh yeah. Oh crap! I have heard that Pokemon's like making a resurgence, or maybe I'm just like not in the loop and it's always been great. Pokemon's probably cool. That's what I heard. Anyways,
I don't think there's the same.
Damn it! Now I forgot. So like in standard or in Magic, how you have like standard, which is all the new cards, and then modern, which is most of the new cards, and it doesn't have a rotation. And then there's Legacy, which is all of the cards with a really big ban list, and everybody plays all the really good cards, and it's got a really cool format or a really cool meta. And but I think we would see more like pre-constructed, like here's a starter deck, whatever, that you can play in standard. How they have what are called event decks in Magic. They're for people who are like really really into Magic and just started and need a standard deck to play. Like you buy this event deck, it's a 60 card deck, 15 card sideboard, you get a little life die when you buy the pack, and it's like $25-$30, something like that sometimes. And it's like a really decent deck. Like it's not going to win like every game you play, but you're going to be able to take it to your FNM and do really really well. You'll be able to go like 3-1 if you're really really good or something like that. And I feel like we can do that in Hearthstone very very easily if we have the card base. Like I don't think it's necessary right now, but when we start getting lots and lots and lots of sets, it's possible. I think it's very very possible.
Okay. Well, any other thoughts, guys? Or
I'm good.
No. All right. Well, listeners, we'll be right back. DRC would like to thank Brainiacs for their support of this podcast. If you have a tech idea for improving your business's workflow, Brainiacs can provide a turnkey solution to specifically fit your needs. You can contact them at www.brainiux.com. Welcome back. This is Deck of the Week. Again, I'm joined by Tom Jessup and Matt Mushu Hill. This week's deck is one that's been around for a while, but it's changed a little bit. It's gone through a little bit of changes, I guess, mainly around Undertaker, but the Undertaker nerf. It is Face Hunter. Tom, do you want to take it away?
Yep. A lot of people are gonna make so many hateful comments about me for being a Face Hunter player and also being a giant fan of hating Control Warrior. But I enjoy playing Face Hunter a little bit. Dodge any bullets. I actually like it because I used to play Burn in Magic, and that was a fun deck, and it's basically centered, if you haven't played against it, surprisingly, it's basically centered around, for the most part, taking all of your minions and shoving them in the face of your opponent and playing hero power as much as you can. And what it used to basically be a Death Rattle aggro deck when we had Undertaker. And Undertaker was really, really nuts, and this deck was so good. And it kind of fell off a little bit at the nerf of Undertaker, but everybody knew it was going to come back somehow. And it's still pretty good. It's great to climb ladder with, but a lot of people think it's really, really mindless, and it's not mindless, but it doesn't take too much thought, and it's not very difficult to play. Somebody who played a lot of Zulok, I would say back in the day, but like a couple seasons ago, it was hard to transition because I was like, I don't trade. What does this mean? And so it's a lot of going to the face, but a lot of people have the mindset that it's an archetype where it's all burn. You just hit them in the face all the time. That's all you do. It takes no skill. But although it may not take a lot of skill and it's kind of luck based, it takes more knowledge than anything. You need to know what you're playing up against. You need to know when it's okay to overextend. You need to know what to trade into. For example, cards that you pretty much always want to insta-kill. Mech Warper is one. It used to be Undertaker. It used to kill Undertaker all the time. And it varies on matchup. But my list has been pretty kind of, I guess, pretty stock ever since the deck kind of came out. I guess Undertaker was a huge thing. So it was like Undertaker, Clockwork Gnomes, Leper Gnomes, Web Spinners, like that was your one drops. I've taken out the Undertaker because it's good. It's not as consistent. I run Abusive Sergeant. So you got that. You got a 1 of Tracking, 1 of Hunter's Mark. For your weapons, you run 2 Eagle Hornbow and 2 Glaive Zuka. And then 2 Explosive Traps, 2 on a Creeper. You probably want to run an Iron Beak Owl to get through the taunts and stuff. I got Mad Scientists, Animal Companion, 2 of Kill Command, 2 of Arcane Golem, 2 of, and Wolf Rider, 2 of. And then Unleash the Hounds as a 1 of to either clear the board or finish up a game or put on like a really, really huge threat. Pretty basic deck. It's not expensive. It's not a deck for everybody. It's not that great, like fun-wise, and it doesn't have a lot of play, as people would say. Like, there's not a lot of things you can do with it. It is very much kind of go to the face. And I've noticed the hands you kind of want to keep are like a lot of 1-drops. I think the only 2-drop you usually want to keep is Glaive Zuka, and yeah, and it's pretty nice in the meta. It's a great ladder climbing deck. I know mid-range hunter is a big thing right now, and when I first started playing Face Hunter, I thought, this deck's great. It's gonna help me get up really, really high, and then I realized a lot of people were playing mid-range hunter, and this is 2 seasons ago, 2 seasons ago, something like that. And then I realized a lot of people were playing mid-range hunter, and I was like, oh. Why would you play Face Hunter when you can play mid-range hunter? But there's pretty different decks, I'd say. They have some bad matchups, obviously. Anybody that can heal and play taunts, it really hurts, because this deck is the closest thing we have to burn. And it doesn't have a lot of board control. So anybody, especially like Mech Mage, is kind of a hard matchup, because they have the freeze and they have really, really resilient minions. But overall, it's a really solid deck. It's, again, not a deck for everyone. Not everybody wants to run to the face, but if you're, especially if you're a new player and you want to get those high ranks and you want to grind out games and want a very competitive and very cheap deck, this is the deck for you. There's no, you can run snake traps in here. I don't have them. Probably going to craft them later. Snake trap is a thing. Most people just run explosive traps. Which I think a lot of people run snake traps, but that's probably the most expensive card in the deck. Other than that, like Arcane Golems, Eagle Hornbow, looking at it right here. Yep, that's your only rares. So,
yeah,
a couple class cards.
Something I've was kind of excited to see. I mean, again, I'm not a big fan of the deck just because I don't think it's fun to play, and it's really not fun to play against it.
No, absolutely not.
But I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, it's obviously a good deck. But was seeing the Wolf Rider. Yeah, I think I saw those when I first started playing Hearthstone.
Right.
And then it just, it's a 3-1 for 1. It dies really easy. I was kind of excited to see that back. And the first time I saw someone played against me, I'm like, what on earth is this?
Right.
What am I playing against? I haven't seen one of these in a year. Yeah, and we talked about earlier a little bit the Undertaker nerf. People are still playing it. The Undertaker. Yeah.
It's nowhere near as prevalent, obviously, because nerfs.
Right.
Nature, but
right.
I've seen it in this deck. It's not bad. It's not my personal preference. I think in this meta, it's okay to run. I like Abusive Sergeant because it has more of a chance to get through. It also, I want to say it's just better to play because you can play that without a minion on the board and still use it as the body. I've done it a lot of times. Like turn 1, I have no 1-drop except for that guy. I'm playing it. That's what you need to do. You got to play that guy. And you don't really lose too much. But it's super great when you play Abusive Sergeant, Arcane Golem, or Abusive Sergeant, Wolf Rider, and virtually kind of somewhat get a free old Leroy for it. It's great. And the nature of the deck is just lots and lots of damage really, really quickly, and hope to God that you get the RNG you need with Animal Companion and I'm trying to think of the card. Clockwork Gnome. A lot of people actually don't run Leper Gnome. I like it as at least a 1 of. I've experimented with 2. I'm running 2 right now. I haven't really played the deck much recently. but Clockwork Gnome is really, really good because of those just spare parts. They can't like change the tide of the game, but they can really, really, really help you out.
Well, I mean, playing a Wolf Rider or an Arcane Golem, and then if you've got the spare part that time, that or the time, put it back in your hand,
rewinder or whatever.
Yeah,
so good.
That's good too. Yeah. Let's see. The Clockwork Gnome's definitely. Yeah, I was kind of with you though. Leper Gnome versus Clockwork Gnome, which better? And I kind of feel like Clockwork.
Leper Gnome's not bad by any means. Like, it definitely has a debatable spot in this deck. I think as a one of, it's probably best. In fact, I would encourage running a one of personally from a lot of play of this deck. Some people who are like super, super good would say, no, don't play Leper Gnome ever. But I think it's still good. It's a really resilient threat. I'm trying to remember my reasoning behind running 2 specifically. I think it was just because Mech Mage was a problem, and it didn't trade well into Mech Mage, but it helped get your damage across more. I forgot what I was substituting for, like, the one Leper Gnome. I think it was a Snake Trap. I think I didn't have the Snake Trap as a thing, so... Trying to remember. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think that's what most people do, though. Run like 2 explosive and a Snake Trap, or one of each. So
I'm a big fan of like 2 Leper Gnomes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just Leper Gnome is just Jesus.
Leper Gnome versus Clockwork, or would you run all 4? 2 of them,
not
2
4.
Of.
Around 3.
So you'd run 1 Clockwork and 2 Lepers?
Yes.
Interesting.
Really?
I guess you feel like the burn's worth it?
Yeah, the burn is definitely worth it.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's just like, so you get the little utility from the 1 Clockwork Gnome, but yeah, I don't think the spare parts are that important in this.
Okay. Interesting.
It's understandable. I think it's still good to have 1-drops in this deck. I'm running a lot of them, 8 to be exact. I don't know, I haven't screwed with the numbers and haven't run statistics and whatever on it, but the chance of getting a 1-drop is very, very high, and you need to get a 1-drop in this deck.
Yeah, basically.
You can win without it, but it's going to be super, super hard. So.
You don't want to have to play without a 1-drop, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty painful.
I feel like this deck, and why it gets a lot of crap, I think the thing is, someone picks up this deck and they're like, oh, it's God mode, and they pick it up and they're like, God, this deck sucks. It really, you have to know the matchup that you're playing against. I feel like
absolutely,
to make this deck
that's
work.
the big thing.
If you don't know what you're playing against, because you're still making trades, but you just got to know.
But yes, yeah, very important trades.
Yes, it's kind of knowing when to flip that switch and go face or trade. If it's a if it's a key minion for your opponent, then you may want to trade. But sometimes you may want to let them make the trade. Keep them on the back foot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why this deck isn't fun to play against.
The mirror match is really stupid too. Like, it's not fun. I think it's whoever starts trading first, whoever has to trade first loses. If you notice you're trading, you probably lost.
I'd rather watch Control Warrior mirror match.
Yes, I actually would too. Not even lying.
No, I think the mirror is pretty good because it's like, while there's a good amount of RNG in it because it's really whoever gets the best hand can is the victor, but it's also nice to see when they have roughly even starting hand, and it's about who can outplay the other one.
To an extent, yes. I guess depending on what that starting hand is. I don't know. I feel like if you're playing a 1-2 or you're playing a 1-1, they drop a 1-1. Do you get a bow? Do you get a bow out before they do? Are you clearing the board before they can?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that's. Not that I have a problem with it, but like Mech Mage, if I lose a game, generally it's because you get out tempoed, and and I just feel like sometimes no matter what answers you have, sometimes it's not enough. Like I said, I get sustain the board and it's turn 5 and I'm down at 10 health. And it's just kind of like, well, I'm on a timer now. All they got to do is hit the button 5 times and I'm dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that goes into it. What do we think the counters are? I mean, obviously, why can I not think of the name of this card? It's the mech that gives you 8 health.
Anti-Killbot.
Yes, Anti-Killbot. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was been a very popular card. I've seen a lot of Earthing Ring Farseers as well.
That's more of a function of the oil rig than anything, I'd say.
Which also has a very bad matchup against Face Hunter. Like, that's the main thing I've noticed when playing Oil Rogue is that I need my Sludge Belchers and I need my one of Anti-Killbot that I have in my Earthen Ring Farseers, or else I lose. And I lose most of the time because the deck just runs me over. I don't have enough time to set up, and it's just like, hi, I'm in your face, and you're dead.
Yeah, the Rogue doesn't have a good way of getting rid of mass minions. It's kind of one at a time, which the cards that you get are kind of important. You don't want to burn eviscerates on a minion. You want to burn them on a face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Control Warrior has obviously a really, really good matchup. Druids have really good matchups because they just play taunts for days and don't care. Priest is okay because it can heal consistently. I would say Handlock is Handlock's probably most of the time 50-50 because the Handlock has to get the amount of, like, the cards. And the whole point of Handlock is to hurt yourself. And if you're running up against nobody, like, if you're a Face Hunter, you don't like playing up against Handlock because if they get those taunts and they're not at 10 life and you don't have your kill commands, you're not going to be having a good time.
Yeah. Playing Handlock, if I get a Sun Fury Protector and what's that 2/5/4?
Ancient Water?
Yes. I'll definitely. I don't think I mulligan for those, especially not now that they're mid-range hunter's a thing. But if I have those, I'm not afraid to drop those on turn 3 and turn 2 and then turn 3 or turn 4 all together, just to get something out there. Because usually turn 4 you want to save it for your drakes or your mountain or your giants. But sometimes it's just about staying alive long enough.
I think in terms of cards to keep, like, you pretty much don't want any other cards except 1-drops. The exception being Glaive Zuka, because most of the times you want a hero power turn 2. And the key thing about the deck is hero power. You want a hero power as much as you can. Mm-hmm. Like if you can on turn 3, if you're feeling really ballsy and you want to get a Mishra out of your or a Huffer out of your animal companion, then go for it. But I think it's best, like, turn 3 to just play a 1-drop hero power. Like, your opening hand, you want 1-drops in Glaive Zuka, and, like, the exceptions to that rule is, like, if you're playing up against, if you know you're going up against Zoo, which I don't know how you would know that, but if you know you're going up against Zoo, or you're going up against Control Paladin or Paladin, Unleash the Hounds, I think, is okay to keep in opening it. I probably wouldn't mulligan for it, but it's okay to keep.
Just a side note, I was playing a WoW private server the other day, and I actually ran into the in-game version of Misha, and fuck me, it's ridiculous how strong Misha is. It's
what patch?
That bear. This was 1.12. So this is the last patch of vanilla. Yeah. And yeah, so I was in Desolus and just walking along minding my business, and this giant brown bear. And if you've ever been to Desolus, it's just it's legitimately what it means. It's a desolate place. And yeah, you just run into this big brown bear walking down the middle of the road, has a ridiculous amount of HP, and just wrecks you something silly.
Rex face.
Yes.
Yeah, because Rexar still walking through there in vanilla, wouldn't he?
Yeah. He's chill banging with all his dudes. One of it's not a fun time.
Most of the quests given out there are by, like, like artifacts and stuff, right? Or is that like post kata or something like that?
I think that's post kata because it's a lot of it's like warring centaur clans in the vanilla.
Yeah.
So you spend a bunch of time like it's really sort of go here and kill this sort of thing because you fight against warring centaur or you pick a side and earn all the rep for that centaur clan, and then by killing the other centaur clan.
Oh yeah, that's super different because the last time the only time I quested in Desolus actually was in post kata, and it was like all the quests that I was doing were given out by like artifacts. I was like reading an artifact and it was like I need bones of a satyr for sacrifice or something like that. I was like, all right, kill 5 satyrs, got it. So.
Been there, done that.
There's definitely like there's satyrs there, but
I'm taking kill collect quests from things that don't even fucking exist. What is this?
Things that cannot appreciate how much I've killed.
It was interesting though. It was cool. Change up.
Much like good old Rexa.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So important to the face hunter matchup. That knowledge there.
Yeah, you got to know where these things come from.
Yeah.
That's where like we come back to the whole like next next adventure mode needs to have more PvE content just so people know what it's all about. That's what I want.
Knowing's half the battle, I hear.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Well, any other thoughts? Anything I think the listeners should know? And we've talked about kind of how to play it and what to kind of do against it. Obviously, you're mulliganing to get rid of the early game threat because they kind of drop off at the end, late game.
I would recommend not playing it because I'm playing Oil Rogue, and all of you who play Face Hunter screw me over, and I hate my life. So.
And I hate you all.
Nah, play it. It's a decent deck for people who are looking for a budget deck and are trying to get into competitive ladder play. It's a decent deck. Everybody don't expect to love it. I don't love
hate yourself. You'll have nightmares. You'll question.
Exactly. Actually,
are you a real person?
10%. But it's an okay deck. It's not amazing. Like
I played it a lot.
Yeah.
With the Undertaker.
Yeah. Right.
I miss Undertaker. When I had Undertaker, I was all about that shit.
Baby, come back.
Even as somebody who played Undertaker, I was like, nah, no thanks.
Oh, I hate that card so much.
You're just telling the listeners what they want to hear. You are just like, loving every moment. Every time you got a 4/5 Undertaker, you were just dancing around the room, just be like, I am the best at this game.
Eat it, priest. Can't kill this. Lol, 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 lol. Holy fire. Lol, traded a 6 mana card for my 1 drop. Sucks to be you, kid.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us again this week. Don't forget you can find us at www.deathrattlecrew.com. Send us an email at mail@deathrattlecrew.com. And you can find us on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at Death Rattle Crew. Until next week, have a good one.